the duck. So I'm gonna make cuts every 1 inch, and I'm gonna make lines. And now I'm gonna cut through the skin and through the fat, but not through the meat. So I'm gonna set my duck aside for a second as I make my spice rub. I'm going to zest an orange and I'm going to zest a lime. So I have the zest of the orange and the lime. I'm gonna save my orange and my lime here because I'm gonna use the juice for a super delicious sticky glaze. I'm adding all the zest in here. This is the chile piquin, these spicy, cute little chili peppers that have an incredible intense and smoky taste and very citrusy taste. So it goes really well with the orange and the lime. So 2 very generous teaspoons. Then I'm gonna add a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped rosemary leaves. If you have the opportunity to use it fresh, go for fresh. If you can't find it, then use a third of the amount that I'm calling for, dried, like a packed 2 tablespoons. And it's always nice to have a little bonus of everything. I'm gonna mix it up. And now I'm going to rub the rub all over from top to bottom, front and back, inside and out. And I'm gonna stuff it not with stuffing that I'm gonna eat, but I'm just cutting an orange just so that the duck has seasoning inside and out and so that the meat is nice and moist. And you wanna go all the way in. Some of the orange, some of the rosemary. I'm kind of squeezing the oranges a little bit as I go in. And then right before I get to the end, I'm gonna add my full head of garlic. So I'm going to do breast side up, tuck the wings behind the back, and then I'm tying the legs. And tie them as tight as you can. Now that I have my duck all dressed and pretty, I'm gonna put it in the oven. It's at 425 and it's gonna roast for 30 minutes. Now I'm gonna use the juice to make a sticky, spicy honey glaze, which is so easy to make. I have a medium saucepan right here, set over medium heat, and I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And once it's completely melted, I'm gonna add 2 to 3 teaspoons of whole Pekin chiles. And then I'm gonna add the juice of an orange and the lime. Then I'm adding 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm just gonna drop in there a sprig of rosemary. I'm gonna let these simmer and thicken for like 5 minutes. Check my duck because it's ready to be flipped. This is perfect timing. It's smelling so good. So it was at 425 for 30 minutes because we wanted precisely this. A super nice roast over the top. I'm gonna flip it to the other side and it's going back in the oven. I'm reducing the heat down to 350 and it's gonna go in there for an hour and a half. It smells so good. I just wanna stand here and smell. I'm gonna strain right in here. Now this is gonna sit here for a second. It may thicken, which is really good because we want a thick glaze to glaze the duck all over when I flip it one more time. Just down the street from Pangea is a younger generation of chefs that is pushing Mexican fine dining to the edge. And I mean the very edge. Has your food ever made sounds before?
So you can hear also the birds and the rain.
Really?
So,
Y entonces tú traes esto así a la mesa. Or has your dessert ever resembled an entire mountain ecosystem?
every time there
Totally
is
looks
time.
like a mystic forest right now. Meet the Colley brothers, Rodrigo the baker, Daniel the chef, and Patricio the sommelier. But you look identical, except with no beard and different kinds of
Just a
beards.
little bit of detail.
The most iconic thing in Coli, or the objective we try to do, is make the people from Monterrey be proud from their own cuisine and their own tradition. The only way we can talk to the customers about the history of Nuevo León, it was through a tasting menu.
Centuries ago, northern Mexicans were called barbarians. So Coli's menu honors their ancestors. Each course is a story. So show me, I want to eat. The menu starts with an origin story in a dish called the meteorite, honoring the asteroid that hit the Yucatan 66 million years ago. ¡Qué delicia!
Más crocante.
It totally tastes like a machacado taco in one bite. And course number 2, 3 traditional soups of Nuevo León, each in one bite. Fideo seco, menudo, and puchero.
La salsa. Sí, la salsa está rica.
You're kind of playing around with your customers' minds because he's like, no, what I just ate should have been a soup, but it tastes just exactly, but it was fish. It was like, is this a dream or is this reality? And my dessert is a nod to Nuevo León's culture of carne asada and bonding around the grill. But chocolate charcoal, it definitely looks like a piece of dry wood. I can keep on eating this one. To some, Coli's experimentation might seem fanciful. Others might appreciate art you can eat. They have won me over with their passion for innovation and engaging all the senses.
Every time the customers, they're
Like,
looking
where are the birds?
Where are the birds?
Thank you guys for inviting me. It's been a treat to see a family at work and a family at work really pushing the envelope.
Cheers.
I know you're here for the duck.
I am.
So now it's time to get it out and give it a glaze.
All right. Looks so good.
I know, isn't it so beautiful?
It smells really good too.
I'm gonna flip the duck, okay? Oh, look at this beautiful thing. We're gonna use the fat. We're gonna make a corn tamal.
Made out
in
of
a
the fat?
skillet. See.
Oh, wow.
So instead of using lard or butter, we're gonna use dog fat. Who loves dog fat?
Everyone loves duck fat.
You love dog fat. We're gonna put it in a measuring cup. This is like duck fat gold. We're gonna use all that fat. Now you can glaze away todo.
Salsita.
Sí, más salsita. We wanna use all of it. Let's put it back in the oven for 15 minutes. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of chicken broth in here. Perfect. We're gonna puree in batches. And then we're gonna do about 4 cups of corn, just half of these. See, that looks good. We're gonna add all these garlic puree. I'm removing the bottom. This is the same garlic that we roasted earlier inside the duck. You can just squeeze the cloves. And now we're gonna puree that until completely smooth. So we're doing the corn puree in batches. The first one we did with the roasted garlic, a little bit of the broth, and this we pureed until completely smooth. You can just pour it here. And then we're gonna puree the second batch, but we're gonna leave that very coarse and chunky. I'm gonna add the other 1/4 cup of chicken broth, and then you're gonna add the
rest?
remaining, Y dale. Tipo, yeah. Yeah, because we want it chunky.
Of course.
And we need to measure 1.5 cups of this de masa harina. You can level it off with a knife or with Sammy's finger. Okay, y aquí tenemos combinado 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda.
Todo?
Sí, and this is good because it will make the tamal puff. I'm adding a teaspoon of salt. Tamales usually have one kind of fat.
Not usually duck fat, though.
Not usually duck fat, but we're paving waves here. So I'm gonna add 3/4 cups. That's good. And now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of piloncillo.
That's all this?
Sí, a ver, dulce.
All right.
I'm gonna close these y start over the lowest possible speed. I'm gonna take the duck out. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, si le quieres cerrar. And you know, it needs to rest anyway before we carve it. Okay, We're gonna make a tamal. So you go that side, I go this side, ¿ya? Le puedes hacer así de ladito.
Yes. Todo.
Todo. So as we continue doing this, I'm gonna preheat my skillet at medium heat. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's ready.
Done?
Yeah, that's done. Y ahora, we have the oven at 375, pero we're gonna put like a quarter cup of the duck fat. Todo. Oh, Mila's smelling the duck. So you want the fat all over. You have to do it like gently, but with determination. Like, don't hesitate or you're gonna get burned. Like, once you start, don't stop. Go. Ve que rico! It's starting to brown along the edges. And now what I like to do is I just like to spread the love and spread the duck fat all over. We let it cook here over the fire for like 4 to 5 minutes. So it starts getting browned all over the edges. And then I cover it with foil and we put it in the oven for 30 minutes and then we uncover it and then let it brown on top for a few minutes. Duro. Yeah.
Busted.
And then close. And then that's just 5 minutes. Can you count 5? You would carve the duck in a similar way as you would carve a chicken. So I'm gonna cut here along the line of the leg. And that's why it's really good to let it rest. Okay, entonces le vas jalando y vas viendo where the natural cut is. And you can separate the leg from the thigh, but it just looks so elegant, ¿no?
You get like a nice chunk of meat too if you do it like that.
Sí. Entonces ahí está uno. But I'm gonna give Sammy a little bite. ¿Sí? ¿Sí?
It's so good. The skin is so good.
Sí, está nice and crispy. So, do you want to give it a try o quieres que te enseñe con otra piernita?
I could try. Oh, it's so spicy.
I know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Spicy is our blood, Sammy.
Yeah.
Wherever your knife won't allow, you can go with the scissors. We go the other side.
And you want this?
Sí. Is
For
that
you.
for me? Maybe?
For you, maybe. Good? Not too spicy?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Ya, pues ya. Entonces aquí está tu plato.
Oh my God. It's like a souffle, almost. Wow.
Cheers con pato.
The spice is gonna hit in a second.
I know. Monterrey. Beyond the football stadiums and craft beer, Mexico's industrial mecca has a more overlooked social scene. The only thing my home doesn't have is a poster of girls in their underwear. Today, I'm going on a cantina crawl, where working men go to blow off steam. Wow! As long as you drink, they'll keep bringing you free food. After a night at the cantinas, there's no better place to nurse a hangover than one of the best taco spots in Monterrey. Tacos El Compadre, better known as Tacos del Muerto or Tacos of the Dead, to keep with the neighborhood's theme. Mari, estás que te mueres. Then I'm showing you how to make your own crunchy, delicious tacos with red masa smothered in a tangy salsa verde spiced with chile piquin. Oh, that looks yum. Come on. And for the perfect comfort food after a long night out at the cantina, that already looks good. Potato hash with corn, chorizo, and eggs. Doesn't stop.
I am going to give you a secret.
Yes, I love secrets. It's like nothing I've tasted before. Cantinas are legendary in Mexico. These dive bars have historically discouraged or prohibited women from entry. So naturally, I want in. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Local author and historian David Canales is taking me to two of his favorites to see what these guys are up to behind closed doors.
Les hablamos de cantinas que pues tengan más de 100 años, cantinas que... Tenemos una cantina en Cuatro Ciénegas, Coahuila, ahí en Cuatro Ciénegas, la cantina se llama el 40,
Ajá.
y es el 40 porque es el teléfono. Entonces las señoras buscando a sus maridos le hablaban al número 40 para decir, oye, ahí está mi marido, sí, aquí está. Ah, bueno, ya se calmaban y decían, señores, muy bien.
Cantinas here were born in the mid-1800s when the U.S. occupied Mexico, and more bars opened to meet the demand for alcoholic beverages. Cantinas are also famous for serving endless free botanas. They give you
Por
the
cada
full meal.
cerveza te van dando una botana.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. As long as you drink, they'll keep bringing you free food. This particular cantina is known for the giant avocado torta from the food cart next door. Ven, aquí platicamos. Son todos tus amigos.
No, hombre, ni los conozco.
Está bien. Espérate, ¿todos vienen contigo a hacer investigación de...?
Iba a hacer un libro de iglesias y nadie me acompañó.
And look, more of Nuevo Leon's key ingredient. Wow. Chile piquín, delivered right to the bar. You guys, this is so much fun. I'm used to hanging out with guys because I have 3 boys and a husband, so I feel at home. The only thing my home doesn't have is a poster of girls in their underwear. El Progreso opened in the 1920s and is like a history museum, adorned with old photos and memorabilia. Bartender Don Sergio Robles is the curator.
Estos son los tíos de Sergio.
¡Ay! Tu papá trabajaba en la cantina, compró la cantina y estos eran sus hermanos.
Cantaban aquí y salían, acompañaban a Pedro Infante, a Jorge Negrete.
No, ahora sí, estas son las famosas tortas.
Las tortas de la Purísima.
¡Wow! O sea, son como 2 aguacates enteros.
Un aguacate
Así y por eso son famosos. Y el
Provecho.
¡Ay, provecho! ¡Qué gusto! Cantinas in Mexico are known for having great music and really crave-worthy food. And I want to make some crave-worthy tacos for you too that are different and also from Nuevo León. They're known as tacos rojos, and that translates to red tacos because the masa is red. So I'm gonna add a ripe Roma tomato to start making that seasoning sauce. In goes just like that, full tomato. And then I'm gonna add 3 guajillo chiles, remove the stem, open it up, remove the seeds. They're going to rehydrate at the same time as the tomato cooks. And I'm adding 2 garlic cloves. So this is gonna take about 10 minutes. The tacos rojos have a guajillo tomato salsa that are gonna season the masa, but then the tacos are completely bathed in a tomatillo green salsa. I'm gonna roast my ingredients for a few minutes directly in my fireplace. Because if I've learned anything from Nuevo León, is that this is the proper way to roast them for salsita. Yum. All I'm gonna do is throw in these truly fire-roasted tomatillos with everything. And these are like tomatillo s'mores. Just removing the stem of the serrano, but throwing it all in there. Charred onion, yum. I have the garlic that cooked inside of its skin. And I'm gonna add just a teaspoon of salt, a handful of cilantro, which would make about a cup, a teaspoon of the chile piquín, Now I'm gonna puree these, not until completely smooth, because I always like my salsa verde to the point where I can still see the seeds of the tomatillos. I think they're so incredibly charming to bite into. That is perfect. Yum. I guarantee you will have never tasted a salsa verde like this. So let me clear a little. And I'm gonna rinse my blender because I need to puree the guajillo sauce that's gonna go into my masa. I'm gonna add in here the guajillos that already rehydrated and plumped up, and the tomato that cooked. You can see how soft and mushy it is. And then I'm adding the 2 garlic cloves that are now cooked and soft. And then I'm gonna add 1 cup of the cooking liquid. This is the color that's gonna go into the masa. That's why they're called taco rojos. I'm gonna puree these until completely smooth. I don't want it to have any texture or extra thickness because I need my tortillas to be lean and puff. So I'm gonna go through the extra step of straining. So I'm hoping to get 1.5 cups. Now, if you don't get 1.5 cups, you can just add a little bit more water. And we're gonna start making tortillas rojas for the tacos rojos, which I'm so very excited because it's the first time we do this here. I'm gonna set my comal over medium heat. This needs to preheat for at least a few minutes. If your comal is not preheated, the tortillas are gonna stick. So I'm gonna add 2 cups of masa harina. I'm just going in and then I'm leveling with my knife. And then I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon salt. And then it's actually really good that we just cooked and pureed these because it's good to have warm or somewhat hot liquid going into the masa harina when you mix it. Now, just be careful not to burn yourself. We're gonna make these tacos rojos with queso fresco, but I'm gonna season the queso fresco. As I'm kneading it, it is cracking a little. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water. You want the masa to feel like Play-Doh, very smooth and malleable. And now I'm gonna split this masa into 16 balls. We have our masa. I'm gonna keep it covered here because masa dries fast. I have my tortilla press. And you need to add 2 pieces of plastic to your tortilla press. 1 goes at the bottom, and the best plastic is really thin plastic. See, super thin, and you just cut some rounds. You have your ball of masa, then you put it right in the middle, and then you make sure your flat griddle is really hot over medium heat, and then you're gonna add the top plastic like this. So then you just press down, gentle but all the way down, because you want a very thin tortilla. So you're looking for like 5 to 6 inch round in like 1/8 of an inch. See, I'm raising the packet now. I'm removing the plastic from the top, put it back again so I don't forget the next time. And then I'm gonna peel the plastic from the bottom. You just lay down the tortilla. You're gonna count like anywhere from 45 to 60 seconds. You have to wait until the bottom of the tortilla changes color. And this is funny because it will change to a kind of pale color with a like kind of a sand dunes texture. But you don't want the bottom to become freckled and browned. Okay, see the texture? How it looks like sand dunes a little. I'm gonna do the second flip after like 60 to 90 seconds when the bottom now becomes really freckled and browned. And then after the second flip, if you did it right, the tortilla should puff. You know why you want that puff? Because you want the tortillas to cook under, over, and in between. If the tortillas don't puff, then you get a hard, stiff tortilla that cracks when you fold it. So you know those Mexican tortillas you've eaten with tacos or quesadillas that are so soft and delicious? That's because they puffed. See? That's a beautiful puff. And after it puffed and it cooked for like 15 seconds, then you can store it in your tortilla warmer. And then let's just make some more. Located a few neighborhoods over, El Aguacate, or the avocado, caters to factory workers who stop by for a drink and games of dominoes after work. Yo juego dominó. Nos echamos uno, lo que traen los taquitos. Soy buena, ¿eh? ¿Sí? I'm good.
Vamos a ver si come usted.
Creo que te voy a matar en uno. ¡Me la volteó!
¡Faces!
Dos días me chingué. Yo pago.
Ahora contamos.
I pay.
Vamos a brindar a ver
Yo
quién
pago.
gana. Trajeron ahí un quesito flameado.
Because these are beautiful. Oh my God. Okay, I may have lost the dominoes, but I'm winning some fantastic food. The rule at El Aguacate is the more you drink, the more free food you get. So with the first beer, we got that. With the second beer, we got this.
If you drink 12 beers,
You get 12 courses. I can see how men might appreciate a place to go to forget about their troubles for a while. It's nice to experience, but now that my producer and I are receiving thoughtful gifts, it's probably time to let them go back to what they were doing. Now I know you're getting hungry. Let's finish filling those scrumptious tacos rojos. We have so many things ready. We have the salsa verde con piquín. We have the red tortillas. And now I'm gonna make my queso fresco filling. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of safflower oil. Once it heats up, adding a half a cup of finely chopped white onion. This has 2 serrano chiles that are already chopped. And of course, I'm keeping the seeds. You wanna have enough oil. They're not bathed or swimming in the oil, but they get nicely coated. 1 garlic clove, finely chopped. And I added after the onion and the serrano soften because the garlic just cooks that much faster. And we're only waiting until the garlic becomes a little fragrant and changes in color. And then I'm combining tomatoes and tomatillos. I have 2 Roma tomatoes that I finely chopped, and I'm keeping the seeds and the skin and everything. I have 3 tomatillos that I husked and cleaned and finely chopped. They go really well together. Then I'm adding a little bit of salt. And then you just let these soften. Okay, so this is ready because you can see how mushy and smooshy the tomatoes and tomatillos are. My favorite meal of the day is breakfast, and breakfast in Mexico, because Mexican breakfasts are perfect for any time of day. I'm adding 2 cups or 8 ounces of queso fresco. And queso fresco is a beautiful cheese because it is crumbly and it's tangy and it's lightly salty and it is so satisfying to bite into. Okay, so I'm adding these straight in here. Smells so nice. So now I'm just combining it. Yum. So delicious. Let me bring, Milan knows it's ready. I really wish that Mila could eat all of the food I make. You can use a comal, a griddle, and I'm setting it over low, medium heat. And this is very easy because I'm just gonna take my tortilla rojas that I just made. So I'm adding a sufficient amount of queso fresco filling. And then I'm just folding. I'm going for the next one. Oh, that looks yum. Come on. Okay, flipping here. We want these to get toasty. I feel like I have like my morning taco stand for all of you who went out last night and stayed up so late. Yum. Oh, so pretty. Yum. Okay, so I'm adding a little crema. A little queso cotija. Don't mind me if I do. Oh, I want to eat it like this. It's so good. Messy, crave-worthy, perfect for breakfast, brunch, lunch, anytime dinner. Oh, late night dinner. Now it's time to visit what some locals tell me is the best taco stand in Monterrey. Tacos El Compadre, more commonly known as Tacos del Muerto or Tacos of the Dead. I'm thinking the name comes from the neighbors. Igualmente.
Qué gusto.
Igualmente. Y me encanta todo lo que estoy viendo de comida, se me antoja.
Gracias a
todo.
Dios, sí. Sí, muy rico, muy para las patroncitos les decimos así a los clientes, que les encante todos estos taquitos.
Mary Rico never expected to run and operate the taqueria. It all started with her in-laws, almost 50 years ago, selling stews out of their home.
Entonces, uno de los que iban a comer les comentó, les dijo, ¿por qué no venden tacos de cabeza? Lo habló con mi suegra y pues mi suegra dijo eso, ¿verdad? Ay, no, ¿qué le vas a sacar a una cabeza?
Ajá,
si no tienen
hueso,
puro
pero
hueso.
mucho sabor.
Pero mucho sabor, ¿verdad? Entonces, gracias a Dios, pues mi suegro empezó con taquitos, vendiendo taquitos de cabeza.
They set up a stand near the cemetery, and the cabeza tacos became a big hit. But not long after, a series of unexpected deaths. First, her father-in-law, and then her husband left the young widow with no business experience in charge of the operation.
Y luego ya te quedaste.
Ya me quedé.
O sea, ya eres...
Yo soy parte de...
Entonces ya lo llevas.
Sí, mi suegra y yo. Mi suegra todavía sigue cocinando.
Ella sigue cocinando.
Ella tiene casi 80 años, 79, y sigue.
Ay, wow.
Their love for tacos and the customers kept the Rico family business going.
Hola, bien y tú. Mucho gusto, Ricardo. Así que tú eres la tercera generación.
Así es.
They're making their last name proud. Entonces, a ver, vamos a comer.
Chicharrón
Ajá.
y cabeza.
Los de cabeza me la como con pura salsa verde. No es porque los vendamos, pero...
Ari,
Qué
está
bueno,
que te
porque
mueres.
te gustaron.
De verdad.
Ay,
Qué
hermosa.
bárbaro.
I'm not making head tacos in my kitchen right now, but I am whipping up some comfort food that you can definitely taco, and is a great option if you stayed up too late at the cantinas. I am making hash corn chorizo and eggs. It's all about crave-worthy food that you can have anytime. So I have a pound of Mexican chorizo. You want to remove the casing, and I have my pan preheating at medium-high heat, and I'm just gonna roughly chop. After I add it into the pan, I'm going to continue breaking it apart with wooden spatulas or spoons because once it hits the pan, it wants to like get back together. While these browns, I'm gonna grate my potatoes. So I'm peeling 3/4 of a pound of russet potatoes. This is so satisfying. Hola, Mila. It's not dinner time yet, Mila. I'm gonna flip my chorizo. In Mexico, chorizo comes with so much more fat. They make it here less fatty, so sometimes you need to add a little more oil. I'm adding olive oil this time, and I'm gonna add jalapenos that I already sliced. My recipe calls for 1 to 2 jalapenos, so of course here that means 2. Then I'm adding a cup of corn. This is fresh corn. You can use thawed from frozen. I just want it to brown on the outside a little. Oh, this is so pretty. I'm gonna scrape these right in here because we're making this recipe in the same skillet. That already looks good. Because now I'm adding about a quarter cup of olive oil right in the same pan. I'm reducing the heat here to medium. And I have one white onion that I already peeled and halved and sliced. I really want the onions here to soften. I don't want them to brown and crisp. So I'm gonna crack 8 eggs. Salt, pepper. You can see how the onions have completely transformed. So I'm gonna add my potatoes. So I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper. Now the potatoes are gonna cook really fast because they're nice and shredded. And I'm just gonna let them sit there in the heat because I wanna start getting that hash brown texture where the potato is cooked but browned on the outside. Okay, so as that happens, I'm gonna beat my eggs. Bringing in a comal here. Turning it over low heat so I can heat my tortillas. I'm going to incorporate the chorizo, corn, and jalapeño. Before I add my eggs, I like to make sure my heat is not too high. These are so beautiful. I love good, delicious messes. We need to tackle these things. I have my beautiful tortilla rojas. For those tacos rojos, when you reheat them, you should see a puff like this. That means you made a good tortilla. You want to heat them on both sides. And then here's my tortilla. Yum. We make chubby tacos in this house. You got the brown hash and the caramelized onion and the sweet corn and the spicy chorizo and that tangy salsita and the tortillas. This is just yum, yum, yum. In searching for hidden gems in new cities, I sometimes let my nose be my guide. Today I'm in the city of Linares, Nuevo León, an official magic town nestled in the heart of Orange Country, where I'm following the smoky aroma of Texas-style barbecue to the grill of Luis Rivas. He's preparing his award-winning Mex-Tex. So to eat these tacos, you first have to find the taco.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I'm invited to his family's orange farm for a massive carne asada with his family and grilling friends who show me how it's done in the north. I've never seen these! Tortillas right on the coals! Then, the sweet smell of dulce de leche has led me to the original makers of one of Mexico's most beloved candies, Glorias. The Pope has tried the Glories! And in my kitchen, I'm making a recipe inspired by Luis's friends that will have you begging for seconds. Who would have thought to put arrachera in a fried rice? A honey-glazed pork belly, arrachera, and shrimp fried rice. And the yay to the yum, the pork belly. Doesn't stop.
I am going to give you a secret.
Yes, I love secrets. It's like nothing I've tasted before.
Meandering through the traditional colonial architecture of Linares, I'm led by a smell that's not so common in Mexican magic towns. Texas-style barbecue.
Pati, vete a hacer los tacos.
Sí.
Pues oye, ¿cómo no vas a hacer tacos? Estás en México.
I know. Sí.
So we're gonna start doing some tacos agachados.
Okay.
Translated roughly is crouch tacos.
Yeah.
They were invented by the familia Romero here in Linares because they have a really small stand.
Okay.
So people, when they went to eat, they had to eat like this. So.
Oh, to crouch.
yeah.
So I love it how in Mexico we have all these catchy nicknames for our food, no? We love nicknames for people.
Food and for people. Yeah.
Luis Rivas' year-old restaurant is quickly becoming a local hotspot, with its melt-in-your-mouth smoked brisket fused with traditional Mexican flavors. So the tacos agachados are traditionally made with what kind of meat?
Picadillo, with ground beef.
Picadillo,
Yeah.
which is the ground
Beef.
meat that's cooked Mexican style, but you're Texas-anizing
Yeah.
Mexican tacos.
We're creating the Mex texture.
I love it. So it's not Tex-Mex, it's
No,
Mex-Tex.
Mex-Tex. We're bringing the Texas
But
stuff into
I
Mexico.
have to tell you, Luis, I must have this bite. O una costrita. Yo muero por las costritas. Okay.
Traditionally, this is just salt and pepper. Good.
It tastes very, very smoky. Very, very bacony. Delicious. What's that bacon smoky flavor? Is it from the way you smoke it?
Maybe 8, 12, 14 hours, depending on the size of the brisket.
It's just falling apart in my
Yeah.
mouth. Luis is no ordinary weekend grill master. In fact, he came within reach of beating the Texans at their own game and achieving something no other Mexican has before. So you won
The Houston Rodeo World Championship.
which prize? The third place?
Third place overall.
By a Mexican?
Yes.
You're that proud. Look at that
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah, for us,
That's amazing. Is it the first time a Mexican?
overall, being in the top 3 overall, we're the first ones.
So you decided to bring Texas barbecue here,
Yeah.
and now we're putting it in the tacos. Okay,
Sure.
walk me through making the tacos agachados. His tacos agachados are my kind of delicious mess, and it starts with exactly 8 tacos, not 7.
It sounds more fancy, like I ate 8 tacos.
The deep-fried tortillas are smothered in refried beans, stuffed with juicy brisket, and covered under a mountain of toppings.
Y en Linares a todo le ponemos papas. ¿Por
Ok.
qué? No sé, pero todo lleva papas en
¿Por
Linares.
qué? Me lo como así.
Ya que lo
de
vieron,
ese
agarras
taco.
un taquito,
Ajá.
lo encuentras primero, ¿verdad? Ahí está un taco.
Okay, so to eat these tacos, you first have to find the taco.
Yeah.
I found my first taco,
Everything.
and it's a beautiful taco. Look at these.
And everything inside.
Oh my gosh, it's like meat and potatoes in a taco. It's refreshing, it's cute, it has so much flavor. You taste a little bit of the lard in the potatoes and the tortilla.
Déjese caer. Oh,
So after you won and you could bring the barbecue to Nuevo León, why did you choose Linares?
For me, Linares is a place I love. My family lives here forever.
Yeah.
And for me, it was trying to bring something different to the city.
To more fully understand Luis and his love of cooking, he's invited me to his family's nearby Orange Grove for a proper carne asada. Todos eran...
Todo empezó, o sea, mi papá en su negocio hacía todas las navidades borregos para todos los empleados.
Okay.
Entonces yo tenía 10, 11 años cuando lo acompañaba.
Linares is located in Mexico's citrus region known as the Orange Belt. Despite the dry desert climate, the deep water table makes this area ideal for growing citrus.
Ese naranjo tiene alrededor de 29, 30 años, ese.
30 years old.
Y este tiene más de 60 años.
60 years
Sí.
old. The farm has come full circle in the Rivas family. Luis' father and grandfather both worked here as youngsters.
Pues aguarte lo que le da vida. Imagínate. pues.
Sí.
Sí, poquitos. Por el sabor. Le falta cualquier cosa.
No le falta nada. Carne asadas are so much more than just grilled meat tacos, especially in the north. It's the weekly centerpiece of family life. But today's is even more special because Luis has invited his chef friends from all over Nuevo León.
There's all these nuances about carne asada people don't know, and here you have a very important community of like parrilleros here in Nuevo León are like, right?
It's part of the tradition. So if you're from Nuevo León, you need to know how to do carne asada.
Yeah.
That's a basic.
First, Luis teaches me how to make a traditional cabrito on a spit. Baby goat is a meal of historical significance to Nuevo León dating back centuries.
You can start here, Filipinos.
Okay, so I'm seasoning.
Yeah, you're seasoning it.
Okay,
So
so
yes.
we have
Oregano.
And I didn't know that oregano was such a big deal in Nuevo León, that it grows. That's new to me.
Es el sabor de Nuevo León.
While the cabrito cooks, Luis's friends have prepared some traditional northern machacado, scrambled eggs with dried beef.
Todos le agarran así.
Todo,
A ver. This is crazy delicious.
Tiene cebolla, tomate y la machaca, nada más hecho en manteca de puerco.
In lard, like fresh lard.
Then a chicharrón, shrimp, and bacon fried rice. This inspired the recipe I'm making for you later in my kitchen.
Oh my God. It is so, like it has everything about the fried rice that you love. The rice and how the grains are so separated, but then you have the chicharrón and the carnitas and oh my God.
After 2 hours over the fire, the cabrito is finally ready to taste, but not without heating the tortillas the northern way.
I've never seen these. Tortillas right on the coals.
Fastest way to do it.
So would you say this is the iconic dish of Nuevo León?
Yes,
or
of course.
one of? It's
Yes, the one.
Miren este taquito. Look
Chulada.
at this taco. This is so worth the wait. And I know why people here are so proud of this.
Yeah.
Simple, delicious. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Hey, anytime. You're welcome. This is your house.
Gracias, I don't think I've eaten so much chicharrón in my life as I did in Nuevo León. They love the chicharrón and they have incredible pork belly. And I'm gonna make for you a honey glazed pork belly, arrachera, and shrimp fried rice. Now, does that sound good? Well, it's outrageously delicious. So I'm gonna start by making a brine for the pork belly. 3 cups of water, 1/3 cup of honey. A lot of the honey from Nuevo León is made from the orange blossoms, from the orange tree. The honey there is so delicious. And then 1/4 cup of salt. I have 1 pound of pork belly, and this piece of pork belly is so beautiful. Now, pork belly comes from the belly of the pig, and it has the skin, all of the fat, and the meat. The beauty is in transforming these into something that's really tender, where the meat will be really soft and the top will be very crispy. While my brine cools, I'm gonna make my rice. So I have my saucepan set over medium heat. I'm gonna add a little bit of safflower oil, about 2 tablespoons, 1.5 cups of long grain white rice. I'm gonna stir these here for a second. And I'm not seasoning these with onion or garlic or anything. I'm just adding my homemade chicken broth, which is really tasty. So 3 cups chicken broth going here. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of salt. As I wait for these to start bubbling, I'm gonna cover my pork belly with the brine, and it's gonna just sit in here, covered in this water with honey and salt. This really helps the pork belly get incredibly irresistible. You're gonna let these sit anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. And because I wanna make this the best it can be, I have one in the fridge that's been sitting there for 24 hours. I'm gonna let it come to room temperature before I put it in the oven. I am going to add 1 cup more water because the pork belly really benefits from cooking really low and like really wet heat. So I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil. Meanwhile, give my rice a stir cover, and then reduce the heat to the lowest possible heat, and then the rice can cook in peace for about 12 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna put my pork belly in the oven at 300 for 2 hours and a half so that the fat really melts into the meat and the skin on top begins to crisp. And then I'm gonna remove the foil and let it continue cooking there for about another half hour so that the skin on top can really crisp. And the rice is ready, and you know it because there should be no liquid at the bottom of the pan. Look how fluffy it is. If you don't fluff it immediately, it will clump up. Now it's time to make the sauce, but first I need something sweet. I've been eating Gloria since childhood. The soft, caramelly candies made from milk and sugar are everywhere in Mexico. But there are lots of copies and only one original, Marquetería La Guadalupana, and they make it the same way they have since 1943.
¿Cómo estamos?
¿Cómo están?
Muy
¡Qué
bien.
gusto!
Gusto
María
para
Luisa,
nosotros.
¿verdad?
María Luisa Gallardo.
Huele a Gloria desde la entrada.
Maria Luisa, who goes by Muñeca or Doll, is the grandchild of Natalia Medina Núñez, who adapted the recipe from an existing candy called Marquetas. She created her own version, wrapped them in the signature red cellophane, and sold them around town. She just needed a name.
Casi no la gente cuando ya lo probaba le decía, este dulce sabe a Gloria. Entonces mi abuelita dijo, pues qué nombre. Bueno, pues si le saben a Gloria, pues vamos a ponerle ese nombre.
So Glorias were born and quickly became famous worldwide.
Sí, al Papa.
The Pope has tried the glory.
Maybe the candy is blessed.
Lleva 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm selling candy now. Yo soy muy buena vendedora. I'm a really good salesperson.
Let's be honest, the Glorias sell themselves.
¡Qué rico huele! It smells like custard.
The process starts by mixing milk and sugar in a copper pot and stirring for about 2 hours until it's the perfect consistency.
La mano aquí arriba.
Ajá, está aquí.
Sí. Y esa un poquito más abajo, tantito.
Ya vi. Y hay que hacerle el circulito derecho. ¿Cuánto tiempo lleva usted haciendo?
30 años más o menos.
30 años. ¿Come todos los días?
No.
So here's a couple of hours, here's thickening, you need to stir a little more, and here, he can't stop stirring or it'll smoke and stick. And at this point, the mixture is leaving a trail in the bottom. But, you can see the bottom, ¿sí? ¿Qué hago?
Sí.
¿Yo le ayudo de este lado? Uy, qué rico.
Then the mixture rests for about a day in the same room where Muñeca's grandmother used to sell them.
This has peanuts, cranberries,
Almendra, arándano, cacahuate, papaya, pasa,
dried papaya
y nuez.
Sounds so delicious porque tienes el dulce de leche y tú luego tienes los trocitos. Y yo voy a querer probar ese.
Y Chiclo Gloria se llama, tiene nuez y coco.
Oh my God, I love the thought of that. Pecans
y ese
and coconut.
diferente.
I'm like in a candy toy store. So Muñeca is teaching me to make the Glorias. This looks so irresistible. It looks like fudge. It's just gooey, sticky, but still soft and malleable. And then she drops it into the ground pecans, just like that. So this is called the heart of the Gloria, which has the bigger pecan. Ok, le haces duro y luego le diste la vuelta para acá. Pero tú la haces tan rápido que la avientas. A ver, ¿verdad? Yo te vi. Hoy, ¿como cuántas haces en un día?
Pues unas 4,000, sí.
¿4,000? ¿La comparten conmigo?
Delicious.
Sí sabe a Gloria, la verdad. They're so good and so sweet and so irresistible. Mira, yo y el Papa ya comimos Glorias. And now I'm gonna make the sauce that's just gonna bathe the entire dish. 1/4 cup of soy sauce, and then it's 2 tablespoons of natural rice vinegar. So this is not the seasoned one. This is the unseasoned or natural. 1 tablespoon of honey. This is gonna give the sauce a delicious sticky, glossy consistency. 3 tablespoons of the adobo sauce from the chipotle sin adobo sauce. I'm gonna zest an orange. You wanna get the color of the zest, but you don't wanna get the pith or the white part because it's very bitter. And then I'm gonna cut the orange in half and I'm gonna squeeze the juice right in here. I'm adding a teaspoon of the piquin chiles, a tablespoon of finely chopped ginger. So if my recipe calls for a tablespoon of ginger, what I really mean is a super copious, generous tablespoon of ginger. You can do 1 to 2 serrano chiles or jalapenos, and I'm keeping my seeds in. And last thing I'm gonna chop is 3 garlic cloves. So adding this in here. I have the rice, I have the sauce, but I'm gonna make an omelette. I'm just gonna quickly scramble 3 eggs. I'm gonna add salt and pepper to the eggs. I have my pan set over medium heat. Then I'm gonna add safflower oil here. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon, and I'm gonna let that heat for a second. So I'm gonna add my eggs to my hot pan. Also move the edges of the omelette to the center. Just push the edges in whatever hasn't cooked. That was pretty. You just want these to cook just for a couple of seconds because I don't want these to overcook and become rubbery. Once it can release, and then I'm gonna cut it into bite-sized pieces. I think one of my favorite things from any fried rice is the egg. So I'm gonna set this aside, and we're almost there. I'm gonna take out my pork belly. So now I'm upping the oven to 400, and I'm gonna give it like 20 to 30 minutes until the top really crisps. But as you can see, most of the fat has melted into the meat. Now we're gonna crisp it up. I am going to cut some scallions. I'm removing the bottom, and then I'm removing the dry tops. So we're gonna use all of these for the rice. I had 8 scallions, and I'm gonna use the white and light green parts for the rice. And I'm gonna use the darker parts, which are crunchy and fresh, for the garnish. So I'm gonna set these over high heat. I'm gonna get my pork belly out. This pork belly is perfection. I have all the pork belly rendered fat, which I'm gonna pour in here, which I'm gonna use to cook my fried rice. And it's fat that has the flavor of the salt, of course, and the honey. It's a beautiful thing. I'm gonna add 2 to 3 tablespoons. And then I'm gonna quickly season my arrachera or skirt steak. The salt and pepper. And I wanna take it out the moment that it's browned on all sides and just cook through. I don't wanna overcook it. So here's my meat. Now I'm gonna add a little bit more of that pork belly fat. And now I'm gonna season my shrimp with salt, pepper. While that's happening, I'm gonna cut my pork belly into pieces. I said the omelette was my favorite part of the rice. I'm like changing my mind right now. And this is ready. I'm gonna get my shrimp out. Who would have thought to put arrachera in a fried rice? Thank you, Luis. So adding more pork belly fat, and I'm reducing the heat to medium. I'm gonna add my vegetables, diced carrots, my fresh peas, and my scallions, asparagus, salt and pepper. So 1 more minute, and I'm raising my heat again right before I add my rice. I'm gonna mix this up, make a little bit more room in the center, and why not a little bit more fat. And remember that super, super yummy sauce? And now, no more fat, no more fat. I'm kidding. Adding the shrimp and the meat and the yay to the yum, the pork belly. The omelette. It just smells orangey and it smells bacony and I smell the pork belly and fresh from the chiles and the orange too. You ready? Because I am super ready. Because yum. Scallions on top. A little of the Peking chile. Yum. You have to make this Nuevo León inspired fried rice. I just can't describe. And I need to say thank you, Luis, to you and your friends for welcoming us, for the inspiration, and for sending me the chile piquins.
Speaking of Luis, I can't leave his carne asada without trying one last treat. What happens when you combine a famous candy with a famous influencer and wrap it up in a quesadilla?
If you Google it, quesadilla con Gloria, ahí sale que Alma Blanco la volvió viral. Yo soy Alma Blanco.
So Alma turned viral was something that people used to eat here for decades?
The quesadilla con Gloria is made with the original Glorias and melty cheese wrapped in a warm flour tortilla. You can grill it right next to the meat at your carne asada. Then it's covered in dulce de leche and sprinkled with chopped pecans, abundant in Nuevo León.
It feels so good.
It does.
Have you tried it before?
No.
What do you think? It's like salty and sweet.